Hey folks, I'm here again. I want to talk to you about a thing that I have been working on for a while now, to solve an issue that I was having with AI image generation. So if you're not interested in AI generation, cool. But the issue I was having was with failed images, especially failed images on platforms that use tokens, whether or not um, the image failed. For instance, Grok, which I'll be doing a test on here. Grok is a tool where if it fails your image generation for policy reasons, then it eats your tokens anyway. Um, Problem being that Grok can fail your image for reasons that are Grok's problem. And I'll get into that in a second. But so I wanted to have a way where I can increase my chances of a solid image generation that does everything I want it to do. So I don't have to run it multiple times. Because even if it doesn't fail on policy reasons, it will often just give me something I don't need. It'll give me, you put two people in, and suddenly they've become this homunculus of one person with four arms and two heads. So I was trying to figure out a way, or I've been fighting with prompt structure to make sure that happens the least amount of times. Um, and I think I've done a pretty good job here. So the tool I'm working on, I'm calling Promptcaster right now, because the theory is you create a set of characters, cast, a cast of characters that you can then insert into images as you want. And it gets pretty specific and it gets pretty powerful. And I'll go through that in a second. But I want you to know that everything you see here, I'm just doing it random. I'm not, nothing is pre checked here. So if it goes good, it goes good. And I think it probably will. But if it goes bad, it's also because I didn't plan this. I just decided I would shoot a video of it because I thought it was pretty cool what it does. Anyway, this is a beta version of the app, and I've cleared it out. It stores everything in local files, so for internet, so it saves things without saving to your hard drive. Well, it saves to your hard drive, but just not anywhere where it's easy to get to. But let me go through and show you this in action. The first thing I'm going to do is walk you through the interface. There are two main parts of the interface that are fully functional right now. There's the person creator, which is very close to a character creator in like a video game, which is kind of where I got the inspiration from. And it's very detailed because one of the things when I was looking at trying to recreate multiple videos or multiple photos of the same person from photo to photo, the biggest problem was I would create a prompt of a specific person, but it wouldn't be specific enough. So every time the prompt ran, it would generate a different person who looked kind of similar, but it would be a very different person. And then it dawned on me that if I came here and if I created a prompt that was very specific in facial features, kind of uh, tamping down the ability of the AI to imagine, um, I could fairly well replicate a character from image to image. So I set out making an app where you manually or you randomly select all of the criteria for making a person, and then you save them for repeat use. So if I make a character and I save them here, I can come back a week from now. I can load in the character that we're about to randomly generate and run it through an AI. Actually, I would suggest running it through the same AI every time if you want to have it repeating, because while it will an AI image or an AI generator will generate a very similar image each time this way, if you run one through Grok and one through some other through Midjourney or something like that, they'll be very different. Um, but like everyone in Grok will be very similar, and everyone in Midjourney will be very similar, but they won't be the same. Anyway, enough talking. Let's get into the fun. Right now, I'm just going to do a random normal person. I'll get into the weird stuff in a second here. Um, but do random. Okay, so it's created a woman by the name of Mila. She's 40 years old. She's East Asian. She has dark skin. Um, she has blue green eyes. Uh, her eyes. She has large eyes. She has the Roman nose, chubby cheeks, dimpled chin, soft jaw, Cupid's bow lips. Now, also because it's random, there's not a lot of some of the stuff might not make sense. But uh, she's statuesque. Uh, one thing is funny about Grok, especially because Grok is trained on a lot of stuff that is not safe for work. I've gathered because of how it fails. So if you put in a prompt, a bust size for a woman, for instance, it assumes you want to see her without her shirt on. So no matter what the clothing you give her, there's often it's just going to show you her topless. So right now, because I'm trying to make this so that it goes through properly and gives you what you want. If you want to put bust in yourself, go right ahead. But for the purposes of this video, that's disabled, so that won't cause a problem. She has a smug look on her face. She has a long center part haircut, and it's dirty blonde. So she's going to be a very interesting looking character. Um, Clothing, it automatically generated her clothing too. She has a halter top that's olive drab, uh, and it's made of linen. She's wearing cargo pants. She could like be any character in a low budget sci-fi military movie. Light blue cargo pants made of homespun. Not sure what that is. I just put that in there for fun. And underwear, which you won't see. Um, she's not holding anything, but we can change that if we want. We say holding service pistol in right hand. Okay, so I already blew the randomness of it. But now that we've created Mila, I can say save to cast, and everything here, this rather exotic lady that we just created, um, anytime I want Mila in a shot, I can just add her to a scene, um, and it will be very close each time. As far as of all the testing I've done, Mila will look very close from scene to scene. So about the scene, if you go down after the person, by the way, you can if all of this gets in the way of you thinking, you can collapse Mila. If you want to add a second person, which I won't do right now, but if you want to add a second person, you click here and you start over again. It's the same thing, and you can save them to cast as well. So we're sticking in the contemporary genre, and what I'm going to do, because it doesn't really matter, I'm going for testing purposes. I'm just going to hit random, and what it's going to do is it's going to complete all of these questions. And these questions will inform it how to build this staging section. It's essentially blocking and staging of the image, where it will tell you the person, their pose, their action, the object they're using, the place that they are, etc., etc. Right? Um, when it chooses location, it will also randomly choose props this is going to expand over time, but it'll add props to the image that she can interact with, and that if you're doing it manually and you don't want to do all the randomness, you can say, like, you can add a coffee cup, and then you can have the object here, which nothing here right now. It's all people and things that are already that are expected to be in the image. Um, if you add a coffee cup, if I were to check coffee cup down here and come up here, the object coffee cup would show up. somewhere, right? Um, Although right now it's actually just putting everything in. So ignore what I said. Sometimes I forget which stage I'm at in troubleshooting things because right now staging and pre-made scene generation is where my focus is. But right now it's serviceable. So I thought I'd show it off a little bit. Anyway, enough yapping. I'm going to go ahead and randomly select contemporary. And she's at an outpost, a military outpost, which fits with her clothing, I guess. Uh, she's looking at the camera. Style. Now here's where I'm going to change. I'm going to do another change from random because I want you to see from the start because I'm going to play around with this in the next stage. But I'm going to choose photorealistic right now. Right. So photorealistic, smug looking Mila is going to be in an outpost looking at the camera. Okay. Now we're done. We have the basic staging done. If I wanted to add more steps to the staging, I can click here and it'll add another block of questions like this that I can answer. If you have multiple people, if I add another person to this, then there would be another person in the drop down menu. So I can say Mila's doing this, and the other person's doing this, and the other person's doing this, et cetera, right? One quick note is that one issue that it's not this tool's problem, but it's AI generation's problem. Is a lot of generators, especially ones that are mass marketed like Grok, will limit the amount of characters that you can feed it in a prompt. So I've tried to make sure that these are as efficient as possible to get the most out of them, but they're still rather large. So if you add more than four people basically and you give them all staging directions and all that other stuff, it's going to give you a really large uh, prompt and it may start to get confused. Um, just a fair warning for if you ever want to use this and get your hands on it. I haven't decided how I'm going to distribute it yet, but let's go ahead and get to the actual stuff you're probably watching for. I go ahead and copy to clipboard. Come over here to Grok Images. Go to New Generation. Right click and paste. And let's do. Yeah, that's good enough. Let's go ahead and hit paste. Now it'll generate two images of Mila in her outpost looking smugly at the camera. So, how's your day been? As I try to fill time. There's Mila. And she's looking smug, and she's in an outpost. Looks like Afghanistan. Actually, I'll put this on Grok as a problem, but it makes her look like she's 40 feet tall, doesn't it? Um, but anyway, there's Mila, pistol in hand, looking smug, getting ready to fight who knows what. Right? Okay, so now let's play with this image. So pay attention to what Mila looks like. And let's go back to the prompt. So let's go back to Mila, right? Now we have Mila, we have her clothing. Okay? Let's say we want to change her clothing. Let's give her a baggy sweater. Right? Baggy sweater. Let's change the color to what do we want to change the color to? Light blue. Let's change it to chiffon. Cargo pants. Let's change the cargo pants to a skirt. Let's change it to I don't know. I'm not a fashion person. Let's change it to a charcoal skirt, and let's make it leather. Leather. Um, yeah. So we just changed her clothes, right? And it updated the prompt over here. Now, if I wanted, I could check this box. And what this box does is every time it changes this box at all, it creates a seed. That's what at the end of it, it'll say seed this. An AI will read this, and if and it will generate. It'll do a random generation of the image based on this code because it's an ag. It doesn't care what the code is so long as it's a code that it can base a random number generation, a random yeah random number generation off of. If I check this box, then every time I make a change, this seed stays the same, and it actually makes sure that the image is as close to the original as possible. But it's never going to be exact because every time you change anything in the prompt, it is going to fundamentally change the path, the trajectory of the image generation. But this helps. I'm not going to do that right now because we're just playing around. Copy this to prompt with Mila's new clothes. Paste. Let's see if it makes Mila 40 feet tall again. Um, with the seed, it's probably going to change a lot, but her face and her hair should be fairly similar. It'll probably fail this time, but maybe 9 times out of 10, they look very similar. Yeah, let's see, there's Mila. She looks a little more angry in that second page. Still holding the pistol, still, I guess, 40 feet tall. You can look where she's standing here on the ground, and here's the hut next to her. So she's a giant monster of a woman. Um, anyway, that's Mila, right? Cool. Now let's play around with it even more. We can come back here. Um, now, if you want, we can change the genre. So, like all of the clothes in the drop downs are based on contemporary. And contemporary, that's going to just be regular clothing, right? I just have a handful of 20 or so types and 20 or so material types and colors to make a large range of clothing. So you can make pretty much anything, any modern clothing, at least the type of clothing that you want. Doesn't mean it's always going to come out looking the way you want. Excuse me. But if I change the contemporary to medieval, it changes the clothing completely, right? If I change it to sci-fi, it changes the clothing completely. If I change it to fantasy, it changes. Now, if I change it to all genres, then everything in here becomes available here. So if you want to just have a drop down of 80 items, you can. For purposes of not getting too confusing, I don't want to do that right now. But the one thing I do want to show you, which I think is kind of cool, is if you go up here to, let's change to sci-fi, right? Let's change it to sci-fi. And these clothes are still available in sci-fi, so that's not going to force her to change her clothes. But what it does is it adds more options um, for things that you can configure in her. Let's go back and look at her. She's mostly covered. So let's give her a tank top. Let's change it from a baggy sweater. Where's the tank top? You know what? I think it's probably, for whatever reason, it took tank top out, so it's going to be here. Let's give her a tank top. Let's go back to sci-fi. And let's give her robot arms. Right? If I want, I can just click this and make all of her robot, which is kind of interesting. But it's more interesting in how AI handles those commands. You'll generally get fairly dependable robot-y looking arms. But when you do the head and stuff, it gets confusing. Let's say those robot arms are going to be blue. Okay. Change prompt. Come back here. Let's see if it makes her 40 feet again. Probably will, because it's changing very little. But it should give her a tank top, and it should give her robot arms. As we wait, there you go. There she is. She's actually lost a little weight. No, well, the at least the one on the left is not so tall. She looks maybe 12 feet tall now. Maybe 18 feet tall. She's more of an Astartes Warhammer. Uh, but anyway, as you see, I just given her robot arms by a click of a button. Now, what else can I do? Um, where it gets really crazy is the wild button, right? If you're like I said, if you're trying to generate um, basically normal images, don't click the wild button. The wild button adds a lot of randomization options that kind of get out of hand. But let's go ahead and get out of hand with her. We'll click wild, and you'll see it's created a new section called wild. Um, Now, what do you have options of? Well, I can, if I want, give her a goat head. If I want, I can give her a cartoon goat head. If I want, the head should be the same color as her body. That's good. And then let's say I give her insect wings. Let's say I give her huge insect wings. Do I want to give her a tail? Sure. Let's give her a spaded devil tail. Right? Covering. Do you want to change her skin type? I can give her feathers. Right? Feathers. I want the coverage to be full body. I don't know if that's going to cover her robot arms and feathers, but I bet it will. The color. Let's give her purple feathers, and let's give her spotted purple feathers. How do you like them apples? I've just changed her completely with a couple of clicks. And let's go see what she looks like. And if I have this wild Mila and I save her to my um, cast of characters, I can throw her into any picture I want. And she'll look pretty much the same as she always did. Well, there you go. Instant furry. So, um, that is the individual characters. Let's go ahead and add Mila to the scene, which I think adds a second Mila. Yeah, it adds a second Mila. So I'm going to delete the goat Mila. So now we have a single Mila again. This is the old Mila. Let's go ahead and add a person. Let's randomize the person. This created Paloma, another woman. She's in her 50s. She's Middle Eastern. She's wearing a flak vest, a dragon scale flak vest, combat pants, a bustier, which you're not going to see because it's under her clothes. Let's see. Let's give her a field radio. She's rugged and girl next door and fierce looking. I like them apples. Let's do a random. They're on a balcony and arm round. So let's change the style back to photorealistic. Right. Now you see it's created staging for both Paloma and Mila. Add. Paste. Generate. And again, the randomness is kind of just for fun or possibly for inspiration if you're looking for things to create video images about. And all these can be turned into videos. But yep, here they are. The tough women of the near future. Didn't know they made dragon scale that size. Anyway, it looks like Paloma is not so happy there in that second image with Mila, and Mila doesn't seem to care because she has the gun and Paloma has the radio. Anyway, so there you go, and you see, as you can see, that all of the pictures of Mila in this case, except for with the goat head, are very similar because we've chosen it that way. And so instead of having saving individual people and trying to do multiple, add multiple people or multiple pictures of people to a image generation and create one picture and then just keep recreating them until you get the picture you want. In this case, it allows you to just all at once through a prompt create the same person over and over again. Um, so one last thing I want to show, which is kind of funny, uh, is if you come down here now. Granted, I should say I think I've already mentioned it, but contemporary, medieval, sci-fi, fantasy, or all genres, you have a lot of stuff to choose from here, and all of it carries over when you save a character into cast. So they all come back as is when you pull them in. So it's a way of keeping track of each person. And as you see here, it also saves the description of the person in case you forget who Mila is. It'll tell you what you're getting from Mila. Um, Now, let's say that you have that picture and you say, now these don't all come out that great. And I got to say, this is more on the AI image generator than it is on my tool. But if you want to turn like the picture that we currently have of them palling around on that balcony, I can say I want it to be where's a good one? Let's do classic 2D animation, right? Don't need to go into what that is imitating. But now we wait, and we're going to turn that picture of Mila and what's her face, Paloma. We're going to turn that picture into a cartoon. Don't know whether or not they're all gonna look very similar, but there you go. Yeah, basically the same picture. Actually, it's kind of reversed. Paloma is a little more upset with Mila in the first picture. And then if I come back here and I change it to stylized 3D cartoon, I think you'll probably. Anyway, as you see, this is a way of creating repeatable images, which allows you to either, if you're making a comic book or you're making something else, and you want to have the same characters throughout the comic book, um, then you can come in here and create the characters, and then cell by cell, frame by frame within a comic book, you can keep the same characters going over and over and over and over again. Anyway, there you see Mila and Paloma and how they would look if they were a 3D animated movie by fill in the blank. Anyway, that is all. That is my propcaster that I have been working on, and I felt like it was time to show you because I think in my brain it went to beta as soon as I got everything turning out in a way that people didn't have 15 arms and 3 heads unless I wanted them to. And that is all. I hope you all find this interesting. I'm willing to answer questions if you want to ask them. Otherwise, have a great rest of your weekend and peace.